So for those I did use 4.5-inch deck screws. And now I'm going to set up the butt end of the run pole against the tree. And I'll use the 1 3/4-inch deck screws to fasten the butt end to the tree. So I'm just screwing it into the bracket here. At about 1 meter height. Before you get it in place completely, you just want to make sure that the run pole is facing directly towards the camera tree and that it's sitting horizontal. And then once you've stuck these support posts into the ground nicely, you could just put this cross brace in just to ensure when animals are climbing up here, this isn't going to fall down on the front end. I was just using 2.5-inch deck screws for that. And now that we got it in good position, I'll put a few more extra 4-inch screws on the front, and then this thing will be good and sturdy. You'll most likely, these support posts will be a little long, so just shave them off relatively flush with the run pole, just so nothing's obstructed when the animal, so you don't have any obstructions in the way when the photographs are being taken of the animal. So then you go into your bag of cables, and you're going to have a long cable, and I think they're marked. This one's marked long. You have a medium cable and your short cable. So first we're going to work with our long cable, and that's what's going to span between the two trees. Set up the long cable, and it's optional. If your tree has a lot of limbs, that can help you too, but I've also put the tree stand peg here to help me out get up here. And this will really test if your run pole's Wolverine worthy. So you can stand on your run pole, and then I have my longest cable that's provided, and I've wrapped it around the trunk about almost 2 meters, or about 6-7 feet above the run pole. The run pole is 1 meter off the ground, or about 3.5 feet off the ground. So I've placed, I've taken the cable and put it through the loop on the one end, wrapped it around some good sturdy limbs, so this isn't going to come any further than where it is now. And then I'll get down and set it up on the other side. Loop, I'm hoping to get it so the bait will hang just out from the end of the run pole. So I've placed it here with the cable clamp. I haven't quite tightened it down yet. And then once I get the long cable installed, then I'll have a better idea of exactly where this pulley loop needs to be, so the bait's hanging just out from the end of the run pole. To this camera tree, I've placed some tree stand pegs down there just so I can get to the right height. And we want to get it high enough so it's at about the same level as it is on the run pole tree. So I've got the loose end of the long cable wrapped around some branches up above the camera tree. And then when you have a lot of excess, you could just wrap it around the tree several times, and that'll even take more of the pressure off the line. But this one doesn't have a whole lot to spare. This is an older cable that has a clamp on it. So once you get to your loop, there are screws or nails. I'm going to use a nail in this case. And then just place a nail, pull tight, and place a nail in that spot where it's fairly tight, and you'll be able to take it down if you need to. The next step is to hang the bait. And then all you'll have remaining is your short cable and then your medium cable. And I just want to mention, before you do come out into the field, if you have a long bit or a big spike, it really helps if you pre-drill your frozen beaver carcass full of holes, ideally going through some of the bone as well, before you come out in the field, because when you're stringing the cable through your beaver, it really helps to have those holes in there pre-drilled, and especially getting through the bone makes a big difference and how long it'll stay up there with animals working it. But I'm sure you guys have a million ways of doing it. So the shorter cable, I don't have a beaver carcass with me today because we're September here and there's still bears all over the place. So I'm just going to use my helmet just for an example. So I got my helmet here, and if I had a hole drilled through the beaver, or I'd go around the neck, I'd feed the loop around, and then put that loop through either around the neck or through one of the holes, and then I'd keep wrapping it around, fishing it through several holes. So you want to leave one of the loops available on your beaver carcass because that'll get hooked up to the medium cable. You could rest your bait on the run pole here. Bring your medium cable with you. You're going to attach the medium cable to the bait cable with this snapping clip here. So now that everything's connected, pull up on your bait, and you want it to sit about 8 inches or a little less than a foot from the top of the crossbar, and then you just want it to be a little bit out from the end of the run pole as well. Then you take the cable, you want to wrap it around the tree, but you don't want it down too low. You don't want it to get in the way of the animals on the run pole. So wrap it around the tree a little bit higher, and then you'll want to connect the end of the loop to a nail or a screw. You might want to beef it up just because animals will be working on that bait pretty well. You could easily rebait this way. Unhook it, lower your cable, rebait, and pull it back up. If you're looking at the bait above the run pole, it's just out from the end and about a little less than a foot from the crossbar, and that's kind of a perfect bait position because it forces the animal to stand up and rest on that crossbar and reach out, and then we get perfect photos that way. So next we're going to set the alligator clips now that the run pole's set and the bait is in place. So these PVC pipes are just here to protect the alligator clips while in transport. There is a sweet spot for installing these alligator clips. So you want to get just in front of this screw hole. So the side that has the number 60 on it. I take the one on the lanyard, this is the hair collection clip, and you want to place the trigger clip just in front of that screw hole. Push in all the way, the jaws are wide open, and then you're ahead of that screw hole. These things come off beautifully. When you set it in the screw hole, it can get caught in that screw hole, and I'm actually pushing quite hard here. You want to set the alligator clips facing forward and slightly out on an angle. You could put them straight out this way, but they work best if they're just slightly out on an angle. And that way when an animal's walking through this way, or when it's working at the bait, it's better to be tapping those clips and setting off and collecting some hair at the same time. And there you go. And then you could do the same to the other side.